On tonight's Real Housewives of New Jersey, if you had to choose the Little Colonel event or the Posh Fashion Show, it's season 7, episode 13, Picking Sides. We don't know which one to go to, kids. Coming at you right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hi, kids. Welcome to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're here talking about all things New Jersey tonight. In the house, it's a full panel. I'm glad to be back to talk with all of you ladies. Where can we find you? Who are you, and where can we find you?
I'm Annabell, and you can find me at AdderallAndCompliments.com.
I am Megan Stecher. You guys can tweet me at Megan Stecher.
I am Fern Ronay. You can tweet me at Fern Ronay.
And this is Grant's Rants. You can tweet me at Grants__Rants. So let's talk about tonight's show. We're doing this a little speedy, but there's not too much to cover. But who was really jealous that you didn't get an invitation to those two lovely events? I mean, are you pissed or what? If you had to choose, they were like, look, Megan, we'll put you at one of these events. Which one would you want to go to? Would you want to eat at a full restaurant watching a fashion show? Or the Little Colonel with like 20 people?
There's no doubt in my mind I would have gone to that Posh Fashion Show because I would have been expecting a not only extremely heated verbal argument, I would expect something to get physical. You guys, seriously.
You would have been disappointed, though.
Jacqueline and Chris have like a rap sheet from from a previous Posh show where Jacqueline apparently like took her shoe off and whacked somebody with it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, the rumor is that he said something negative about their son having autism or something, but I don't know.
Who's he?
I have no. I think it was
guy
Johnny
who,
the
like,
Greek,
sued
right?
them, right?
Johnny the Greek or something. That whole thing with Melissa that year, I think is when it happened.
I remember.
A real winner to bring a former owner of a strip club and making fun of children with disabilities. Well, wasn't that great? Horrible. Thank God we don't have to. Well, we still have to live with him because the show is stuck in 2011. Mm-hmm. Every flashback, it either starts or ends in 2011.
Yeah, if you woke up from a coma, besides like the presidency, you'd be like, what? It's still the same. Like you would have no idea.
Yes.
No idea.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about it. Siggy is mad. Siggy is mad at Jacqueline because she thinks that Jacqueline's mad at her because she took sides or something like that. Is that it?
I don't get it. I was like, why does Siggy think that Jacqueline is mad at her because she didn't stick up for her? When? Where? At the dinner? But she like didn't go home with Jacqueline?
Yeah, she didn't leave with her. Is that it?
I don't get it.
Because she really stand for she was a stand for Jacqueline the whole time. But when she came in, I really feel like she took the thunder away from Dolores's new kitchen, in quotes. Because like Siggy comes in, she's like, I've been in bed crying for 4 days. And I'm like, about a fight that didn't, a friend fight that didn't involve you. And it was like, compared to the other Housewives fights, it was just Jacqueline kind of like walking away from the table in like a brisk, like, I mean, compared to OC that had like 15 fights in one episode today, this is the only thing that's happened? Only thing? Mm-hmm. Jacqueline accusing somebody of having 4 nose jobs, which Stevie Wonder could see how many nose jobs Melissa's had. This is the drama from Christmas to basically Easter. That's what we're in now.
Yeah.
I will say thank you to Jacqueline because Melissa finally effing admitted to having her damn nose done.
Yes.
That's the one good thing that came out of this.
The flashback with a lot of hair. You see, like that moment they cut back to a lot of hair.
Oh yeah, it's the curly hair, where the curls look wet.
Yeah.
The thinner lips. I mean, her chin is a different shape. The lips are so much thinner. God,
It's totally different.
Love old faces.
Siggy is just, at this point in the episode, she's like furious that Jacqueline has not reached out to her. This is a huge problem, which is not really a problem.
I mean, who wants to hear more from Jacqueline? The fact that she said that they talk an hour a day on the phone. An hour a day? Number one, who talks on the phone anymore unless somebody's like dead? But an hour a day, what do you guys have to talk about? You don't even have anything to talk about in 12 episodes of this. You have something to talk about an hour a day?
Yeah. Dolores said that Siggy went from the petting zoo to the do not feed section. I kind of thought that was fun visual, but I don't know if it's that extreme.
Yeah,
I'm literally picturing like Melissa and Teresa with like animal bodies, their head on animal bodies, behind like a fence with a sign that's like, please do not feed the animals.
Well, they said, oh, well, Aaron goes back to that scene on the deck. Meanwhile, in 2011...
That infamous deck. I was
Your
so
favorite scene?
waiting for Caroline to come out of the bushes with a culotta. Be like, hey, I'm here. Don't talk about my family.
favorite joke you've ever had is that colada joke. My sister said the same thing. My sister actually snapped me that. And she
Just
said,
her coming out of the bushes. It's
her saying that joke. You. I love that. Well, then we go over to the mouth breather and Patty Mayonnaise over at Envy. And I'm serious. I looked it up. Do you have that picture of Patty Mayonnaise on your phone?
I do. Stand by.
Look, I'm just saying. The guy who works in there reminds me of this guy. What is his name?
Oh, the mouth breather from
Brainy from Hey Arnold.
Oh yeah, the one who was always behind Helga and the bus, like. He
okay,
does.
I don't
Yeah.
have the photo. Sorry.
Oh,
guys.
well, and, I can't even find it either. But yes, the other one just reminds me of two characters from Hey Arnold. I'm sure they're lovely people, maybe, but I just think that it's just funny that they both remind me of someone on the same show. But yeah, so she confronted the male manager or whoever he is, and friend of Fern.
No, he's not. But I'm like,
Fern, do not associate.
I'm like so loyal to a fault that I met him once, and I was like, oh, he's so sweet that I feel like I can't say anything bad about him.
I'm sure he's a nice. I don't know him, but
He seemed like such a nice kid. But yeah.
But so, like, Brainy was questioned if he had videos that he took of Teresa and sold them or whatever. And so Melissa said that I guess she told Teresa she would investigate. So she went on like his YouTube channel, I guess, and like looked to see if he like put anything unsavory on his page, and he didn't. So she had a moment. But they also said that sales weren't good on the website. And then they're like, well, we're having an upcoming fashion show. And the other one said, oh, I'm going back to the Bahamas. So I thought.
Oh yeah, met Betsy Johnson when she's like, well, online sales are a little low. What's the number? 0. They had, their number was 0. It's like, oh, a little low is being very generous.
You think she'd be there working the door, like, passing out flyers on windshields at, like, Stop and Shop, like, to get people to come in. But, yeah, so I don't know how things are going down at Envy. But we didn't get to see that. I guess that's coming up. So Siggy, Dolores, and Jacqueline get together, and they ask if, like, they get together at Jacqueline's house, and Siggy's like right all over. She's like, why is our loyalty being questioned? Like, what's the deal here? And Jacqueline says, like, oh no, I was just caught up in Jacqueline, in Melissa and Teresa. I'm okay. And that was it.
That was the big drama. There was more drama going on with the geese that wouldn't get out of the backyard. That was a very big concern for the family.
The thing that stood out to me in this scene was right before the girls got there, Jacqueline says, I feel weird today. I'm like, can someone effing call a psychiatrist for her and get her some mood regulating drugs? Like, she is all over the place. Like, maybe she just needs something that, like, numbs her out for a couple months till she can calm down till they're not filming anymore. But just like,
or she should watch the show. Like, seriously, like, they should put a warning, like, do not operate heavy machinery after watching any of these episodes, because you're just like, it's TV version of Ambien. I'm like, what? Jesus Christ. Like,
I will say, watching the show a little more casually, like, I was working because I wasn't here last week, so I was like, I gotta watch this, and it came up like autoplay, so I was like, all right, it's on, that's easy enough. So I was going through email and working, and I actually, last week I didn't mind that much. It was because it was content.
Yeah, last week was kind of back
content. So maybe I do say something different. But yeah, I mean, we have to watch the show with taking full pages of notes, so it's difficult for us to, like, really deliver a great recap when there's very little to actually discuss when we're talking about things from 2011. I mean, we've discussed them quite a bit.
I mostly just doodle my name.
Well, I kind of had like a little like Twitter snippy snip with somebody this week because I keep going back and forth with people that listen to our show, and they're like, God, why did they ever cut Robin? Like, that would have been such a great chance. I said exactly how groundbreaking. A lesbian couple that's married, raising a child, and one of them's got a temper problem. I thought that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And someone wrote to me, well, they got cut because they were boring. And I was like, well, there is nothing boring about the first lesbian couple, and one of them's got a temper problem. Like, I just feel like they completely missed their chance, and we're suffering. And I don't know why the production company... I mean, put her in a little. Put her in like a Kathy Rosie amount at least.
Yeah.
Like,
They're no less gripping than Dolores.
Right.
Yeah. So at this point in the episode, Siggy says that she's not going to either of these fashion shows, but she will go to the popcorn event.
She's making it all about herself too. Like she was
I
like
think
being so like dramatic and emotional on the deck, like that how much it
How-
was like
Yeah.
affecting her about this friendship that like sailed long ago. That's not your job to
Yeah,
fix.
she is not.
Exactly. How does she handle being a relationship expert? Because even relationships that have nothing to do with her, put her in bed for 4 days. She is bed stricken for 4 days because of the overwhelming emotion that she cannot handle.
Right?
I don't know why she didn't do her homework and watch any previous episodes. Like, why would you sign up for this TV show and then pretend like you know nothing about what's happened in the past and like arguments from stuff that happened between them in the past put you in bed for 4 days? Like, come on. Watch some previous episodes, honey, and get it together.
Yeah. Exactly.
And her perception of things. I'm like, I love her, but she's really a relationship expert. Like she's always like, Teresa loves Jacqueline and Jacqueline loves. No, they don't. Anyone can see that. And then she was like, Jacqueline loves Melissa. Melissa loves. No, they don't.
They don't.
Thank
Why would they
you.
love each other? Why?
Perfectly put.
Yes.
Sig, let me give you some relationship advice. They hate each other!
Well, let's talk more about that. So Siggy and Melissa get together for whatever reason, and Siggy says that Melissa is not deeply invested in relationships and that she's straight up shallow, and Siggy was not going to. She's not going to the fashion show. I'm not going to every fashion show, and Siggy says that it will hurt Jacqueline if she goes, and basically Melissa. There's not much accomplished. Melissa was like, "All right, I mean, I don't really get it, but okay."
Disagree. I thought this was a really good scene
Really?
because
Oh, I love
Siggy's
it.
all upset, and it was really unbalanced with her saying like, well, to be fair to Jacqueline, I'm not going to go to your show, but I am going to go to Jacqueline's party. That's clearly picking sides. If you weigh it out, it
Oh
clearly
yeah, that's
is.
absolutely
Oh, well.
picking
So,
sides.
so then Melissa was like, look, Jacqueline's freaking insane, and she said a lot of rude shit to me. And Siggy really thought it over, and within just those few 10 seconds of her sitting there listening to Melissa, she really did see Melissa's side. And she then, a day later or whatever, called her and said, like, had a change of heart. I'm going to go to your show or whatever.
Yeah.
But you could see it change in her eyes just talking to Melissa when she was like, Jacqueline's freaking crazy.
It is hard to say like, oh, she's not picking sides when she's clearly going to one event over the other. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was crazy that she was like, I thought you were phony.
I thought that was,
oh my God.
I thought that was
Right?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I thought that was really judgmental because I'm like, I felt like she was just going by Melissa's look, which is like Siggy, like she admits to having every possible procedure done. So it's like I thought that was really judgmental of like, because I've always thought that Melissa seems very nice.
Right.
Like she's never, I don't think, ever given off like a bitchy vibe. Like she just seems like very like sweet and dumb, just like okay, like she's not out to hurt anyone.
Right.
So I thought when she was like, you just don't seem very invested in people. I'm like, that's because you're too invested, Siggy. You like literally cried to the barista. Like, my friends are in a fight. I haven't gone out in 4 days. Like, that's what you should put on my name. Relationship expert. Put that on my cup. Like, you care too much.
Right.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I feel like I agree with Siggy in her first impressions of Melissa, but I don't think they were necessary to say to Melissa to make her point.
Right.
feel
What
that-
does like
yeah, I
phony
agree
and
with that.
self-absorbed have to do with being in
The
this
fight,
fight
yeah,
with Jacqueline?
exactly.
Right. I totally agree.
point.
Teresa is having lunch with her brother, and she's worried about fights in prison. She's worried about Joe. Then they have to talk about Joe. So I can't believe they didn't use the flashback of Joe and Joe fighting. So, they're always
That would have
looking
been
for that.
perfect.
Yeah. But they talked a little about that. And then Teresa, I love this when she says this, that her time in prison was a learning lesson. I love when she pulls that line. Learning lesson. So we have to call. I have to call it every time she says something that's a little offbeat on this show because I have to keep that alive. People forget that she's not all like the brightest bulb. 2011 flashback of the stripper thing that happened. Then the posh fashion show. At a full service
Can we call it
restaurant.
that?
Yeah, at a full service restaurant. This one over here, Annabelle was pissed.
Okay,
'Cause you
the
couldn't go.
fashion show,
You
and
didn't
I
get an
say
invite, huh?
not only did I not get an invite, it must have gone to Anna Wintour. She stole my spot. But the fashion show was at a Carrabba's Grill that they just moved tables like to the side of. It was in a restaurant. That just
How dare they call it a fashion show when there was no runway? That was so embarrassing.
that was insane.
And it used to be like a real fashion show, right?
Yes.
In years past.
Yes.
There was literally zero
And there
effort.
used to be weave pulling, and it was great.
Here's why.
And season ending.
I'm predicting. Here's why. The last time that those were like scenes where all the women came together, there were finale scenes. The production staff must have gone half on those events. This event, they probably didn't put any money into. So, what posh budget is what we got. That's what I
Why
think.
does she even need a fashion show if she's just showing off the clothes to the same people that already shop at the store?
Yeah, and she's not making them. It's not like her line.
And dresses that we've already seen. Like if you go to like any club in Vegas that isn't like that you don't have to pay for, you know, and it was just like a parade of Forever 21. Like
really
I was
was.
afraid like
It
half the
really
dresses
was.
are going to fall
Yeah.
apart like walking through the restaurant anyway. And it's just like this is why we need Dwight from like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Remember the She by She Right? And he's like,
yes.
she had a fashion show with no fashion. Like where was he to explain this? Because that was insane.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. When you run a boutique like that, do you just order clothes out of a magazine?
I think
The
it's just
catalog?
like online purveyors, and you just pick from there.
You pick like I'm gonna have a certain designer in my store. I'm gonna pick like their like full small collections.
And I think
guess.
there's also places you go in New York City and pick from.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a walk of shame parade. Like that's what like that's what all the outfits looks like. That's
Yes.
how the girls were walking, like baby giraffes, like that they've had a hard night. We've all been there, I'm not judging. But it's just like I was like, this is a fashion show? Like we should call
At
this a fashion
least-
show. We have more fashion going on right now than what happened.
At least I learned how to tape my boobs out of that scene. That's what I got.
Education.
Oh god.
Lesson learned. You didn't even have to go to prison. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
What a learning lesson. Kim D confirms that Jacqueline was not involved in Strippergate. Again, putting a
cares?
period on 2011 again. The nose job is confirmed. Another thing that was like from the past. This Kim D questions if Joe is sleeping around, and then I wrote low budget. I guess that's because of just the overall scene itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's like, oh, is he with blondes or brunettes or whatever? And, I mean, she's always going to be as low as possible. You'd think someone like this, who's been on, like, so many of these episodes and always looks like complete trash, would try to not appeal to the lowest common denominator. Just once, she might be like, let me just try to make myself come across like I'm a little bit of a classier person than I really am. But no.
Exactly. How Faye Resnick tried to like revamp her image.
yes.
Like she is an Atlantic City lowdown version. I mean, that's insulting to the, to Faye Resnick, like as Camille Grammer would say. The morally corrupt Faye Resnick. Like Kim D is just, oh, come on. Like well, she matches her store. Just like, oh. Zero online sales.
Sarah, that is so terrible. I can't believe they put that on there. That woman who's like an investor in the store is like with the cameras rolling, like, yeah, the store, the sales online are horrible. Like, they're
It's the only business that makes Dolores' gym look like it's doing well.
I know. Oh, well, the ladies' night is coming. We predicted it. It's coming. Well, Siggy tells Melissa that she is coming to the fashion show now. And Dolores wants to Dolores won't tell Teresa what Kim D's comment was. Now, if this was like OC Housewives, they would be all over that.
Yes, like tonight when Shannon ran and told Tamara, she said something about your daughter.
Yes.
That's what's missing here is that Dolores is too good of a friend and too decent a person that she
It's
that she
true,
didn't
though.
ask Kim D a million questions like who, what women, where do they see known from? She didn't feed it at all, and then she also didn't repeat it, which
Yeah.
does not a housewife make.
No. She's
Too
too
much.
good of a friend,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said.
We have no room for good people on this show.
No,
Too
I
much
agree.
loyalty.
Also, a cheers to that store that Dolores was shopping at, that antique store.
Charm? You mean Charm?
Charm, which has like, I don't know,
A
like
gift shop / antique store?
You pointed out a very
it just came through like a hurricane. I know it's bad to say nowadays because we can't be talking about hurricanes, but I mean, it looked like there were like tiles missing from the front of the place, and they didn't get it from an attractive angle. You could see all the insulation. I mean, It's just like, people get
Use a
paid good
different
money for this.
storefront.
Just
I
fake
think-
it.
Right.
Also, it's like, listen, you're there for Easter decorations. Just go to TJ Maxx where everybody else gets their Easter.
Right.
And also, she's like, oh, this will be good. And she held up like a wooden tray with a horse on it. I was like, what? So what Easter?
Yes. Oh, then I literally wrote flashbacks 2011. I don't know what these flashbacks were either, but I made note of each one. So I think we're up to 4 in a 40-minute episode. Little Colonel event happened. No one had anything to say.
Salute you.
Yes. And we learned, what did we learn? Like a learning lesson on the show. What?
The only thing we learned is that the daughter is knocked up. Ashley's knocked
Yes.
up.
And
that Chris is invited.
And Chris is invited to a prison party, basically.
Going away.
gosh.
It's going away. Okay, going
Going
away.
away party, yeah. But he's not going to bring Jacqueline. And then Dolores has a moment where she's like, you really shouldn't go to that. Like, she tells Chris, like, don't bother going. And I was like, oh, well, all of a sudden now she has an opinion.
Right, I know. It only took her 12 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that. How can you go and tell like a girl? It's one thing if like you're a friend, like you tell your girlfriend, like, oh, I don't know if it'd be a good look if you go. But you're gonna tell Jacqueline's husband.
Yeah, that was it's very odd.
Yeah, because the guy's relationship is totally different. They don't have any drama.
I think if he doesn't go, he'll feel guilty that he never did. Go
Hasn't
say goodbye to
Jacqueline-
his buddy.
Yeah, hasn't Jacqueline like destroyed his life and like enough? Like,
But you notice every time she's in a scene, he has to be seated right next to her.
and he's not saying anything, and he's just watching her throw a tantrum, and he's just sitting there, and all I focus on is that tribal tattoo bracelet Chris has around his arm, and it's like that makes more sense than what his wife is doing. Like, and I just look at him, and I was like, this
Tribal.
poor broken man. Like, you just see in his eyes, he's like, my business is failing. I have 2 kids, and I'm stuck with this. I could have been with Teresa. Like, in his mind, he sees like what his life could have been, and then what it is, and he like looks at those geese like longingly. He's like, at least they can fly away. Like, at least they can escape. I feel like if he could switch positions with Joe to go to he would. I think he would.
There's no doubt that he is putting all the work in that relationship with her.
Or in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully she like gets it ironed out soon. Her attitude problem and her emotions and whatever. Like she
don't
needs
know.
him backing her up right now. That's for sure.
And he knows that.
Yeah.
So then he read note cards to like a room of like 20 friends and family. I mean, it's not like he's like giving a press release, So
Well,
and
maybe
he
he's
said,
just more shy and he needed the backup.
But he's talking about, you pointed out, like, what was he talking about?
It's his own son.
Your imitation was very good.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like, well, now she's expecting a little colonel of her own. And I'm like, come on, like, it's really easy, Like, I mean, not everyone is blessed with the gift of gab, but I feel like, really, how long does it take to get to the point, the punchline? You kind of know the direction you're going in, At least practice in front of a mirror or in the way over.
Like, Joe's probably already in prison by now. It took so long. Like,
Well, we want to point out that Ashley said, oh, yeah, we just found out that they were pregnant. Well, Megan Stecher has us to say otherwise.
due to some investigatory evidentiary. I'm trying to sound like Teresa and Melissa. What did Melissa say this week?
persuade
Yes.
the new fabric.
The new
envy.
line in Envy. Okay. So Ashley was engaged on February 18th. Chris announces that she is pregnant on March 17th or 18th. It was fuzzy to me when this party actually happened. And so, I did my little calculator online for when the baby was born and for when she should have conceived it. So the baby should have been conceived very early December. So December 7th, 2015 was this calculator came up with as her conception date based on when the baby was born on August 30th. So she was already, 3 months pregnant? Almost 3.5?
More, yeah.
Well, don't you usually announce at 3 months? Isn't that the safe? I mean, I don't know.
Right. So she would have gotten engaged. Hold on, December.
Oh, yeah, the engagement.
Okay, so she would have gotten engaged 6 weeks pregnant or a little more. And then a month later is when they announced it. So she said, we just found out.
When she was over 3 months pregnant.
Right, when the night Chris announced it, and I don't buy it. And then I guess people were saying rude stuff to her on Instagram, and I found an Instagram post where she's like, "I'm not ashamed. It's 2016." So basically, I feel like she lied.
Yeah,
at that
I mean,
party.
that's not what she should be ashamed about. I mean, there should definitely be shame, but not about the baby.
Well, yeah, I mean, I from my own perspective, like, I'm not trying to like be like, oh, she conceived before she was engaged.
Yeah,
and
I
married."
don't care.
I really don't care either, but it's just interesting to play with time. And
Yeah.
and then she says, "Oh, we just found out." Well, you know,
Right.
Like, did she mean to say now we can finally tell people? Like, I don't know.
I always like to find out like when these things happen. Like, I'll look up
I
certain
know, because
events.
I'm like, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
I hate
It's
that.
also, when they announced it, her mom was like, okay, why don't you send a group text to everybody? You know, tell Abby. And I'm like, is that how you announce a pregnancy to like your close family in a group text? Like, I'm pregnant to like Albie and Chris and Kulata and, you know, like.
I was told.
And also, they weren't there.
Kulata
Like, not
Carol.
even Albie was there.
I know.
I was told by group text that a family member was pregnant.
Really? How'd you feel about
I
it?
was like, very shocked. I was like, oh, this is casual.
I feel like
Yeah,
you say like you're not pregnant in a group text. Like celebratory, like drinks tonight. Like that's a group text event
have
because it's a cause for celebration.
I have one in my phone right now. I could read it to you. I'm not kidding. I have a group text going where it's like, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? Like, not
wow.
pregnant. Woo! Like one of those.
Thank God.
Goodness.
True
Close
life.
one.
Hashtag real life.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I always like to look back to even like other housewives. Like, when was this trip? Like, I like to play with the timeline. It's usually
Yeah.
always like 5 months prior. It's usually around 5 months from when it airs. But who knows? So
Well,
this
Melissa
is
had so
interesting.
many different hair lengths and colors during all of her interviews that I'm like, how long did they film this damn season?
Well, while we're talking about gossip and stuff, I remember I was reading that this show wrapped like in like April. But it was supposed to wrap way before that, and they could not find a finale where everyone was in the same studio. Or not the same studio, maybe
Same scene.
because Jacqueline was playing like, I'm not going to any of these events, like I'm not doing scenes with them. But they needed to have like the showdown where they all have they run into each other because it was so open ended, and Jacqueline kind of kept like running from them. So they had like 4 different endings, and then they finally just had to just like I'm sure their budget was shot at that point. So it's going to be drawn out, kids.
I mean, from Christmas to Easter, and we've had the kind of fight with Jacqueline and Melania making pancakes. What is on the cutting room floor? I would love to see what is on the cutting room floor.
Shout out to your man, Frankie, tonight. We did see him.
Woo woo! Finally, it's like, listen, Frankie has way better abs than Jesus, so I don't know why we had to go to that church and focus on that.
Oh my.
Happy birthday, Frankie! He is finally 18. Is finally legal.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah, the church. Anything we want to say about that other than that it was a very like set up scene?
They were saying like we both married they literally said we both married the Italian muscleheads, and then went like lamented about how they didn't end up with their happy ending. Like that makes no sense. Like replace musclehead with like highly evolved, educated, good men. Then that your conversation would make sense. But yeah.
And they just went, let's pray.
Yeah, well, want to predict, shall we? Shall we predict this Envy fashion show is showing up? That's happening without Patty Mayonnaise.
AfterBuzz TV.
Do you think Kimye will be there? It's the epitome of fashion. Well, next week we hear from Ashley that she wants to raise the baby natural, which is odd because the baby's already going to come out covered in silicone. Because look at Ashley, nothing about her is natural. So I think that's what an interesting turn.
So trendy, an organic baby. I think we're gonna get a lot of drawn out scenes of, like talking about everyone's feelings about Joe going away in the same way that the day Teresa was sentenced, we watched everyone give their 2 cents on how they were feeling. So I think we'll get that, and it'll be a slow and drawn out week next week.
I think Jacqueline's gonna try to like make it all about her in a way like, I saw them hugging and it made me break down, and then maybe she'll like try to text
Teresa, of
and
course.
we'll go back to square one.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get Texases.
Yeah, I don't know what to. It's very hard to predict with these shows because they show so little. Because there's not much to I guess, put on. But I don't know. I don't have much to predict, but I am interested to see this ladies' night because that's a classic Housewives thing, right? You know, so at least we get to see people come together in one place, and it'll be a mess. I hope. I can only hope. Meanwhile, where can we find you guys to keep up with you and to chat more about the show?
You can find me on Instagram at Annabell DeSisto.
And you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It's all at Megan Stecher. It's spelled MEGANSTECHER.
And this is Fern Ronay. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Fern Ronay, and check out my website, fernronay.com.
And this Thursday, October 13th, I launch my show, like remix show on BitChat, Grant's Rants Hollywood Live. So check that out, please. Thank you. And I appreciate all your support with that. You can find it the next day on iTunes. You can follow me on Twitter at Grants__rants. That'll do it for us, kids, for New Jersey Housewives here at AfterBuzz TV.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.